Thank you so much. So today we're going to be looking at obviously paid advertising through social media platforms like Facebook and TikTok. I'm sure you are aware that there is a time constraint today. We only have an hour. So I won't be going into details on how to do specific things. It's more going to be a top level view, strategies, audiences, those sort of things that will help your business grow. I do see a few people coming in now, but I know this is being recorded. So if everyone's okay, I'm just going to get started straight away. Great. Okay, sorry. Just removing all distractions. Okay, so I'm just going to share my screen and then I'll get started talking to you. All right. Now, with advertising through social media platforms, the thing we need to think about is there's competition, such as massive businesses which are willing to spend millions every single month on getting their ads in front of people. And this may put you off advertising to start off with. You think, how do I compete against massive businesses? But the thing about this is that the way that Facebook, for example, is set up is you can target your audience very specifically. And yes, when someone is browsing Facebook, they may see a Coca-Cola advert, for example, but your advert might show up next. So there is still a chance. And what I would say is the competition is not really something we need to worry about. What we do need to worry about is our audience. So I'm going to put a lot of emphasis in focusing on your audience in today's session. And the main reason for that is your audience is the most important thing when it comes to advertising. If you show your ads to everyone, you're going to waste your money on people who possibly are not interested. But if you show your ads that on an audience that is too specific, you'll show your ads to that one particular person too often, and you might have the opposite effect where instead of them not seeing your ads, they actually get irritated by seeing your ads too often. So there's a fine balance between that. So our audience is our main thing. Now, in our last session last week, which you can go back and watch, we discussed organic content, so posting on your social media platforms for your company. Paid content or paid adverts is important to help grow your business, and it is almost required of your business to put some money behind advertising. Way to do it, a balance of both would be ideal. So if you get an audience, you grow an audience or a community, bring them to your page, you still need to have that organic content behind to keep them coming back to your page, to keep them interested in your business. So don't disregard the organic content because suddenly you're putting money behind adverts. But adverts are obviously quite important. So when it comes to figuring out your audience, this should be possibly the first step you take before you even consider advertising. You need to know who is my audience and who I'm going to target. There are many ways to find out who your audience is. The first way could be, sorry, just seen the chat. The first way could be if you go into your website's analytics and you see who's visiting your website, which pages they're visiting. Perhaps you have a blog that discusses things like advertising or digital marketing and travel. What are your audience more interested in? Do they go to the travel blogs more often? This will give you an understanding of where your audience is going and what they're interested in, and that will help you decide who to show your adverts to. What you should be doing with social media is using your ads to get people to your website and get them to come back to your website. So you can sell your products, you can create brand awareness, whatever it is you need to do. But the end goal is essentially getting people to your website, and then your website does the final step. So your website completes the sale, of course. Now, To get to the whole advertising platform in Facebook, there's many ways. Or ads manager. And the easiest way to do it is a little trick. If you just turn this www into business and then hit enter, you'll get these 3 lines over here where you can then go to ad manager, events manager, and you can also see your audiences as well. So audiences over here. So before I get into the ads, I want to show you how to create audiences, and I'll tell you why this is important. We can create audiences based on pretty much anything you can think of that someone could do online. So you could have very, very specific ads shown to people when they perform some sort of action on your website or whatever it may be. So in the audience section, you want to make sure that you've created your audiences first. As I've said, you want to have an audience so that you know who to target. You don't want to go into creating your ads blind, essentially, and then just have your money wasted showing ads to the wrong people. Okay, so to do this, we can click on create an audience, create a custom audience, and here you can see the different sources. So very quickly, I'll talk you through them. Your sources is where the data is coming from that you're going to collect your audience to get them to in a group like this one here. So is it an action that takes place on your website, on your app, perhaps on your Facebook catalog? So if you have a product catalog, are they on a customer list? So if you have a list of emails that you can upload to Facebook, you can create that, an audience like that. And then offline activities. So that would be people coming into your store. So typically anyone that's in a 2-kilometer radius of your store would get added to this audience. Other sources, now these are sources from Meta. So Meta is Facebook. They've changed their name to Meta. So Meta sources is Facebook related. So how someone's interacted with a video you've posted. Have they interacted with a lead form that you've posted? Any instant experiences, your Instagram account, have they responded to any events, or have they done anything on your Facebook page? Now, these are all available to you to come up with clever ways that you can market to your particular audience. Now, a good strategy to go with is to create a video audience. So just to give you an understanding of what this is, you could post a video on your Facebook page, and then with that video, you can choose to add people to your audience who have viewed at least 3 seconds of your video, 10 seconds of your video, 25%, 50, 75, 95%. So you have choices to add people who have shown an interest in your video by watching it to an audience. You can then target that audience with very specific ads. An example I like to use is at 𝗪𝗺, we advertise video production. So we post a video on our platform, on our Facebook page, about how our video production is laid out. What are the steps? Anyone who watches it 75% of the way then gets retargeted with an ad saying, are you interested in us filming a video for your business? So they've clearly shown an interest because they've watched a majority of the video. We then retarget them, showing them specific ads, which gets them to the website. So very simple. You can choose whatever option here, and then you can choose whichever video it is. So you can click on that and choose from the specific set of videos and create your audience. You can choose how long you want someone to stay in your audience for. Now, this is somewhat important because if you are actively retargeting or showing ads throughout the month, if someone is in your audience for, let's say, 30 days, okay, after 30 days, they will leave your audience until they watch the video again or watch another video. So if you have to set this to, let's say, 300 days, which is a lot, almost a year. That means they're going to continue to see your ad for a whole year. And if they haven't shown interest in it, or if they've gone on to your website and filled out all their data, they're going to start getting irritated because they're going to see your ad and say, oh, this company is just showing ads to me over and over again. And then it paints a negative light onto your business or your brand. So with the retention, just think about what your intentions are for retargeting, and then you can decide what your retention should be. So a good rule of thumb is if you are actively retargeting, we would leave it at 30 days. If you are maybe going to retarget when you have a special or a sale, I know in February people have sales, in the middle of the year people have sales, then you could maybe do it 180, maybe a little bit further than that. But if you are actively retargeting, please keep this low, just to think about your brand and the way that people see it. Okay, and then you can give it a name and a description and create the audience. And then after a while, it will tell you here what the estimated audience size is. So how many people have watched the video, that will be told to you over here. Okay, so that is your audience. Now, there are a couple other audiences that you can use, but we will get back onto that in just a bit. What I want to do is take you into Ads Manager. So Ads Manager is where you create your campaigns. Now, you are able to create campaigns on your Facebook page, and you can boost them. Me personally, I'm against boosting on your Facebook page because what Meta or Facebook does is they test out their changes to the algorithm on the boost. So for 1 week, your boost will do extremely well. A week later, your boost might not do well at all because they've made a change to it. So until they are confident with the way that their algorithm changes work, the boost will be all over the place, whereas this section will be a little bit more stable. So you can rely on it a little bit more. Okay, so I won't go into detail on what you can see here. There are videos all over the internet on how you can navigate your way around this, but I will show you how to create a campaign and what the best practices are for creating a Facebook campaign. Okay, so if we click on create. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is choose a campaign objective. Now, if you hover over it, it will tell you what it's good for on the side over here. So awareness is good for reach, brand awareness, video views. So if we have a specific video we want to show to as many people as possible, and we have an audience set up to capture anyone who watches 75%, we could run an awareness campaign with a video, and then we can retarget the people who have shown interest in that. Traffic is good for link clicks and landing page views, so getting people to your website. Engagement is good for Messenger, Instagram, and WhatsApp. So if you want people to engage with your brand, if you want them to leave comments or to message you for any specific reason, engagement is good for that. Leads, what this will do is actually populate a lead form on the Facebook page. So not the most credible leads, because all you have to do is click submit lead, all your details are there and you submit. So there's not a very good vetting process, but it's very good for getting a large amount of leads through, especially in a short period of time. So if you're just trying to gather interest for a possible event, this is a very good way to go about it. It keeps people on the Facebook platform and Instagram as well, which often leads to more leads coming through, because as soon as someone gets taken away from Facebook after clicking on an ad, they're very skeptical about what the next steps are. App promotion, for if you have an app, you can select this, people can install it, simple as that. And then sales. Sales is bottom of the funnel. You've done the retargeting. This is for people who have shown interest but possibly haven't made a purchase yet. This is where you would retarget those people and get them to close off that sale. So you're probably wondering, what is a good strategy to use here? If this is your first time advertising, a very simple strategy is to use two campaign types. So you would use an awareness campaign type, and you would show this to as many people as possible that are interested in what it is that you offer. The goal here is to just get them to like the post, click on the post, watch the video. You're not trying to get them to take any actions. You're not trying to get them to purchase your product. You just want to find out who your audience is, and essentially grow your audience using the awareness. Once you've done that, you will then run a traffic campaign. What this will do is get those people who have shown interest onto your website. So running those two side by side would probably be the best starting point. So you can take whatever your budget is for the month for advertising, and you can split it 50% on each and run them side by side. And what this will do is it will gather all the people who are interested, and then you'll send them to your website. So you'll have a very high click-through rate over here, and your conversion rate will increase as well. So very basic strategy. Now, you can take that a step further and start interacting with those people who have possibly visited your site but not closed off a sale with this last one here. So the most basic strategy you could go with is just using these three options here. And as I mentioned, you could use this one for video views to make it even simpler. Okay, so each one has its own setup process, but it's very similar. So I'm going to go with traffic just because it covers all of the bases that the others offer as well. Okay, so when it comes to setting out your campaign, at the campaign level, typically you want to just have your objective and your campaign name. You don't really want to do anything else at the campaign level, and I will explain why in just a bit. Categories, you will see this, the special ad category. Now, if your company offers credit, if you are trying to advertise for employment, if you are a real estate agent that does housing, or if you want to advertise social issues, elections, or politics, you do have to select one of these in order for your ads to be allowed to run. Each one has its own separate thing. So for credit, you have to submit details to Facebook to prove that you are allowed credit or to give credit. For employment, you are not allowed to choose demographic targeting. So you can only choose possible interests, but you can't choose anything else because Facebook doesn't want you to discriminate for employment. A very similar thing for housing is both credit and employment. And then social issues, you have to submit your details. So a copy of your passport, driver's license. So Facebook can track you, track the post to an individual in the case that you are spreading fake news, for example. So you do have to select that if you're trying to advertise any of those. Otherwise, Facebook will just stop your ad from running. Now below here, we have the Advantage campaign budget. So here, this allows you to set your budget at campaign level, which means that anything in the campaign will be using this amount that you put in over here. So we want to avoid doing that because if you have separate ad sets, so an ad set is how you differentiate your targeting. You may have an ad set for a specific interest and another one for a specific product and so on. You don't want the interest ad set to be stealing all of the budget from the product ad set. So to do that, we want to make sure that we set our budgets at ad set level. It's a lot more, you have a lot more control over the ads that run. You can choose precisely how much budget each one gets. So even though this is offered at campaign level, most people say rather just turn that off and set it at ad set level. You have a lot more control. Okay, now at the ad set level, here you can select where you want to send people. Remember, this is a traffic campaign. So we can choose to send them to a website, app, messenger, WhatsApp, or calls. We're going to go with website in this case. Okay, you can choose here performance goal, so maximize the number of landing page views or link clicks. Now, this is something important to choose. If you choose link clicks, what Facebook's going to do is get a lot of traffic to your site. But Facebook's not going to bother about what happens on your page. So that means that you'll have a lot of traffic coming through and you will pay for a lot of that traffic. But that isn't credible traffic. So the people coming through, there will be a lot more of them, but not all of them will be your specific target audience. Whereas landing page views will be more focused on, Facebook will show the ad to people who are more likely to take an action on your site. So it's a little bit more targeted. It makes a little bit more sense. You'll see here on the side, the estimated daily reach. So it's currently 75 to 200 landing page views, and the reach is 5,000. Whereas with link clicks, you can see the reach goes up to 6,000, and there's a lot more link clicks that come through. So you'll get a lot more traffic, but it's not always the best traffic. So we would prefer landing page views just budget-wise. Okay, speaking of budget, here we have daily budget, but we also have an option to choose lifetime budget. Now, both of these work separately to each other, and you do have to select one. Now, with lifetime budget, you have to select an end date. With daily, you do not need to set an end date. So this will just be how much you pay per day. Lifetime, what Facebook will do is it will average this over the length of your campaign. So each day, it will be divided by how many days there are. Now, which one do we choose? Which one is best? Now, because daily budget is telling Facebook, I want to spend, in this case, £20 every single day. Facebook is going to spend £20 every single day, regardless of what your campaign is, what kind of traffic you're getting, so on. So you may find that towards the end of the day, you get a lot more traffic through because Facebook is just showing the ad to everyone to try to get that budget or get that money spent. So whereas with a lifetime budget, it's more, Facebook puts a little bit more learning into it, and you'll find that it will spend a little bit less in the beginning trying to find the correct audience. And then once it's found the correct audience that's clicking through, it will show the ad a lot more. So towards the end of the campaign, you'll probably spend a lot more, but there'll be a lot more, it'll be better traffic that is coming through. Okay, so which to choose? If you are running a campaign month to month, you're just advertising your business. There's no special, there's nothing on, it's just purely advertising. I would recommend a lifetime budget. It's a lot easier to manage, and we get better traffic coming through at the end of the month. So by the time the campaign's done, you should have slightly better results. Whereas with a daily budget, this is more if you want results right now. So if you have a special or a sale, you want to put your daily budget on because you want as many eyes on that as possible. So that's more, this will start off strong, whereas lifetime budget will end strong. Okay, so that's the difference between the two obviously choose whichever one makes more sense to your campaign. Okay. This is where we select our audience. So a couple of things I want to focus on here. The custom audience, this is where you would find the audiences that you created. So the video audience that we created, you would just select it here and it would get added. You can select as many audiences as you want in this section, and then you can then target those audiences. So this is why we also have to create the audience first, so that we get to this section, we can just simply select it. We don't have to go through this process. You can create a prospecting audience below here, and it works perfectly fine. You just click on edit and choose your location, age, genders, and detailed demographics. For your first, your brand awareness campaign, this was probably what would be advised, because you're just trying to reach people who are interested in your specific product. One thing to note here is the ages. So if you are selling alcohol or something, you cannot advertise to people 18 years in some locations. So just keep that in mind. Some products can't be sold to certain age groups. And then on the other end of the scale, 65 plus. Because Facebook has been around for so long, people up to the age of 95 are able to use Facebook, are possibly retired, are using Facebook every single day, clicking on your ads, either not knowing what they're doing or they have nothing else to do, so they click on it. So that is essentially a 30-year age group, which you can't control if they are spending your money or not. So my advice would be, if you are trying to go as high as possible, stop that at 64 and then create a separate ad set for just 65 plus. So that ad set for 65 plus, you can choose exactly how much budget gets spent by them. What I've seen countless times is you have it 65 plus, and then this ad set spends most of the budget, and there's no way to control it besides switching it off. Okay. The next thing is the detailed targeting. So what you can do here is you can browse specific demographics, and you can get very, very detailed with these specific things. So if you are selling wedding gifts, you can find people who are engaged, and you can say that you can target people who have just recently got engaged. You can also target friends of people with birthdays in a month, friends of people who recently moved, if you're selling housewarming gifts. There's also friends of newlyweds. So people who have just been married, you can also target them as well for wedding gifts as well. So you can be very specific with your detailed targeting. And as I said before, this is important because your audience is where you're going to be putting all of your money into. You don't need to worry about competing against anyone, so you need to make sure your targeting is correct. Below here, we have advanced detailed targeting. This I always recommend turning it on. You'll see how it makes a very slight difference here, but this is telling Facebook that you want Facebook to learn about your campaigns, to show it to the correct people. What it's going to do is, if someone is slightly outside of your targeted audience, it will still show them an ad if it thinks they are going to perform correctly. So Facebook's putting that effort into learning about your audience. If you find that you are spending too much of your budget too quickly, you can always come and just switch this off first without doing any other optimizations. And you'll find that your budget will, the spend on your budget will slow down because it will be only focused on your targeted audience. Okay. You can then save your audience, and then up here, you can use that audience again and again. So if you just click on save, give it a name, it will be stored in that section. Okay, the last thing I want to speak to you about on ad sets is the placements. Now, unfortunately, Facebook does want your money. So they're going to recommend things like the advantage placements. And what this will do is Facebook will decide where to show your ad. So if I just go to Facebook here, typically when people are scrolling through Facebook, they are looking at the middle here, and this is where their attention is. You probably didn't even notice that there are ads on the side here. Or if you did, you didn't notice what they were displaying. So we want to ensure that our ads get shown to where people can actually interact with them and see them. If it shows up in the right column, you can just pretend that it wasn't seen at all. Okay, so to do that, we want to make sure we're choosing manual placements. So with manual placements, we can actually decide where our ads will show up. So just think about the way that your business works and how you would sell something, as well as how you interact with ads when you're scrolling through Facebook. If you are on Facebook Marketplace, and you see a possible service for a cleaning service, you may not interact with that. Whereas you'll see a product, you're more likely to interact with that on Marketplace. So if you're selling products, then maybe use this. If not, then maybe turn that off. Video feeds, this is a very good one. It shows up while someone is watching a video. So you know they are interacting with, or they are able to see your ad. The right column, we can switch that one off. Instagram Explore, it's unlikely that people click on ads here, so we can switch that one off. Instagram Shop is the same as Facebook Marketplace. Messenger Inbox. So I personally don't use Messenger that often, if ever. And if I am using it, it's to talk to someone, not to see an ad. So you're probably just wasting money showing ads in this place as well, depending on your business, of course. Below here, we have stories. So when it comes to Reels, it's a bit of a controversial one. Stories, 100% always use stories. With Reels, only use it if your video looks like a reel. So if it's a static image, or if it's a video that looks like an ad, people are going to scroll past it very quickly. But if it is a video of you talking to the camera or pretending it is a reel, then it might get a little bit more engagement that way. So personally, I would switch Reels off. But if your ad is catered for a reel, then yes, you can choose that. And then lastly, at the bottom here, we have in article and absent sites. So in article and absent sites is, in article is if someone is reading an article, an ad will show up. We do want that on. Absent sites is people that are using apps that Facebook is allowed to show ads on. So they don't only show ads on Facebook, they have like a network where they can show ads. These are typically a lot cheaper than the feeds at the top. So if you are running on a lower budget, you might want to include these because this will get you more traffic at a lower rate. But keep in mind that these are not Facebook related all the time. Okay, so that is everything in the ad set level. Obviously a lot to go through. So just one more, just from the top level. Here, landing page views or link clicks. Obviously choose which one best suits the outcome of your campaign. Daily budget or lifetime. Daily budget is if you want results right now. Lifetime is if you just want results overall from the end of the campaign. Your audience. So create your custom audiences first. The age make sure 65 plus is either turned off or it has its own ad set. Try and include this if you can. And then lastly, your placements, select specifically where your ads show up so that you know when it does tell you it's got an impression or it's got a reach, it is to someone who's actually seen it and not just sitting in the right column. Okay. Now onto the ad. So obviously each person has their own thoughts and on how ads work or how. Now, personally, I believe that a carousel should not be used unless completely necessary. So we spoke about this in our last session about one-click traffic. So essentially what that means is when they see your ad or they see your post, it should be one click and that takes them to your website. With a carousel, they have to scroll through the different options that you've given, and people very quickly lose interest because that one click isn't to your website. So you haven't captured their data at all because they've scrolled through and then they've carried on scrolling. So only use a carousel in two cases. One is if you're selling multiple products, so they can browse your products. And two is if there's a story. So if it's completely necessary that they need to scroll through the story, then use a carousel. But you're more likely to get traffic to your website through a single image or a video. So if you have multiple different images, put them together in a slideshow and just select the video and let it play. So it plays and someone doesn't have to physically do something to get all the information. Okay, so personally, as an agency, we avoid using carousels because it gets our clients better results. If you're advertising for your own business, then possibly going down the same route as well. Okay, ad media, you can obviously add your images and videos. We would prefer if you use videos because people are able to get a lot more information across with a video. Images are, as you can see, there's the information and they got to read. So if it is something like this, how to use Instagram for business, if that's all you need to get them, then that's great. But if you're selling a specific product, then you may need a little bit more information to go along with it. So try and get a video if you can, even if it is just images in a slideshow. With your primary text, keep it short, keep it simple, straight to the point. Your information should be in your post. So your information should be in this section here, because that's where someone's attention is, that's where they're focused. We shouldn't be assuming that they're going to read there. So rather just put whatever you can above here. You can see this example, learn how to get followers, build your audience, set goals, and measure success. They haven't given a long story or anything. They've just said, that's what this is about. Okay, and then you can give yourself a headline. With the headline, you can put your company's name, or if you're offering a discount, those work really well. So if it's like 50% off sale, those work really well in the headlines. Your call to action, select the most relevant one, select where you want to send them to. So you can use the instant experience, but personally, your website is already built. So rather send them to your website, Facebook events, or a phone call as well, if your company takes phone calls. And then lastly, you want to make sure you are tracking. So make sure you have a pixel set. Excuse me. Make sure you have a pixel set up on your website so that you can track what people are doing after they click on your ad. So it is important to know that extra bit of detail. If you don't have a pixel, Facebook can tell you everything up until the point someone clicks on your ad. So they can give you all that information. After that, they cannot tell you what happens. So we don't know if people are, if they like what they see, if they're browsing our website, if they're purchasing products. We won't be able to tell if they came from ads. So pixels are very important for that point. Okay, so that is essentially the best practices. So everything I went through covers the best practices for creating a campaign. Now, with a strategy, like I said, brand awareness and traffic should cover you for pretty much everything you want to get people to your site. The most important thing, as I've stated many times, is your audience, because with your audience, that is how you can decide what type of ads you're going to show. And then in terms of a strategy, you can still run the same strategy. You're just going to show a very specific audience, a very specific ad. So getting to know your audience should be the first thing and the one thing that you spend a lot of time doing. Okay. So I'm just going to ask if anyone has any questions. And if not, then I will go over to TikTok.
Can I ask something?
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you for your time, by the way. These are really valuable lessons for us. And I'm planning to start my Etsy business. It's a marketplace where you can just sell handmade products. And I know that marketing and sale part, advertisement part is really important at this stage. So which platform do you suggest me to make use of in order to boost sales and increase engagement?
So it is important that when you're starting out, because you don't know, I'm going to assume you don't know who your perfect audience is. So when you're starting out, you want to trial every different platform available, obviously within reason, to find where your audience is. What you're selling may speak to people on Instagram, whereas what I'm selling may only speak to people on TikTok. So starting off, I would recommend going do some organic content, first of all, see if that gets any traffic. And then if you are advertising, try spread your money out across the different platforms. And then from there, you can actually gauge which one gives you the best performance. Because if it is something that you're selling that is more business related, it might be better on LinkedIn, for example. Whereas if it is something more creative, it might be better on Instagram and advertising on Instagram only. What I've found is a lot of people are selling products through TikTok. And what they're doing is they are creating videos of them engaging with the product, so how the product works and so on. And those are the ads that they're putting out. So it all depends on where your audience is. But to figure that out, you need to try each different avenue.
Thank you so much.
Cool, no problem. Okay, so I'm going to look at TikTok really quickly. And I'm just going to run through the ad creation process. So there are two different modes that you can choose when creating an ad in TikTok. So simplified mode is just 3 or 4 steps to choose. Custom mode is a lot more detail. Custom mode looks a lot more like Facebook. So you can select your specific audiences, your locations, and so on. The simplified mode, as you'll see here, you just select what your objective is. So traffic, community interaction, lead generation, or website conversion. If I go back to the beginning, the strategy is very simple. You want to get traffic to your website and you want to remarket to that traffic. If you're trying to build a community, if you're trying to become an influencer, then yes, this is a possibility to choose. But if you've got a website that you've put effort into it, whether it be a Shopify site or something that you've put effort, you have your product, it has your details, that's where you want to send people to. Because once they land there, you can capture that data and you can remarket to them however long you would like to. So I'm just going to skip through here. So selecting your audience, you can have an automatic audience. What TikTok will do is look at the video that you created and send it to who it thinks would be the best audience. But you can also select demographics. So ages, languages, interests, and behaviors. So interests, we can go education, for example. And now we're targeting anyone who's shown interest in these categories. Okay, they also have a daily budget and a lifetime budget, but with TikTok, there is a minimum budget. So it needs to be at least £5 per day or £70 based on what I've got here. So if I stretch this out, it's now £90. So there is a minimum budget with TikTok. In the custom mode, it's actually only set to £5. So you'll find that with the simplified mode, they actually charge you a little bit more because TikTok has to do a little bit more work. Now with this option, you can upload a video, and uploading a video will take it from your device. You can upload up to 20 videos. However, it will not play the videos together. It will be 20 individual ads. You can upload an image, and what it will do is convert the image into it will convert the image into a video, so like a slideshow, or you can log in with your TikTok account, and then you can choose one of your videos that you've already created and promote that. Now, with TikTok, because of the way it works, and because it's so easy for someone to scroll to the next one, when they see an ad, which generally says ad at the bottom, people are very quick to scroll. So what I would recommend is, if you are running ads, make an ad that seems like a general TikTok. So pick up your phone or your mobile device and hold it like if you're doing a selfie and talk them through your product. Make it seem like like there wasn't a production behind it. It was more just personal. What we have found is that those work a lot more. So we're currently running campaigns for an event, a musical event, and the artists picking up the phone and talking to the people gets a lot more views because people think it's just a normal person and they're willing to watch the video. They get the information, they're then interested in it. If we had another one which had music and images and so on, and it said buy your tickets, it didn't get as much traffic as the personalized one, because as soon as someone saw it, they thought, oh, this is just an ad, and they scrolled past it. So with TikTok, you have to be able to grab their attention. And what we found is that the more underproduced it is, the better results you get. So in terms of a strategy for TikTok, back to basics, you want to get them to your normal TikTok that you would make, and then promote that. So slightly different to Facebook, because with Facebook, you have different placements. TikTok is only in one spot. So you need to work a little bit harder and be a little bit more creative with TikTok. I can imagine that people have questions regarding the videos. So if you want to send those through, you're more than welcome to. But my advice is try and make it more personalized to your business. So pick up your phone and say, this is my product and this is why you should buy it. You'll see a lot more traffic from that than just putting together a fully produced trailer for your company. But yes, that is essentially it. So if anyone has any questions, I'll open the floor, and you're welcome to ask about TikTok or Facebook or whatever it is that you have questions about.
All good so far. So Terence, while we're just checking to see if there's any questions, do you think every business should be doing some paid ads? What's your thoughts on strategy for a company that maybe is a small business and limited budget?
So yeah, obviously you have full control of your budget, so you can choose how much you spend per day. You can spend as little as €1 or £1 per day, if that's all that you can afford. I would highly recommend it because unfortunately these platforms, this is how they make their money. So they'll promote you if you put money behind it. If you only do organic, you will grow, but it will be very slow. So I would advise that everyone does some sort of paid ads, even to just get off the ground. So to build your audience and then go from there. But please don't start with advertising, because you need to, like I said, know who your audience is, so you don't waste your money just trying to show your ads to everyone. That's more reserved for Coca-Cola, who can afford it.
For sure. And maybe some of the companies here would like to reach international audiences outside of the country. So adverts is a good route to go.
Yes, definitely. But what I would advise is do your homework. So look on Google Trends, what are people searching for, and then find that location. And with those locations, you can actually you are able to obviously target the entire world, but be more specific so that your budget is not wasted once again.
Excellent. And just my last question, we see if anyone else has any. What's hot now? What's the best social platforms for ads? And have you seen any changes in organic posting? So I know I've seen in my day, Facebook was great 10 years ago, but it's getting tougher and tougher to be seen on. So what would you, advice would you give?
Advertising, definitely advertise on Facebook. It's always available to you. A lot of people still use it. And you have the option on Instagram and Facebook. TikTok is great. I might say on TikTok, because of the way it works, your organic content is less important than your advertised content on TikTok. But if you were to put your money somewhere, maybe on YouTube for brand awareness as well. So those are the Facebook and TikTok is probably the platform for brand awareness, but you can also go YouTube.
Excellent. So just seeing if anyone else has any questions. We can.
Hi, just a quick question, but first of all, thank you for the course. My question is kind of in relation to the international audience. When you were explaining earlier on Facebook, there was a section about languages. Could you clarify on that a little bit? Is it the language that they're speaking? Is it the language they're using the Facebook in? Could you clarify on that, please? Thank you.
Sorry, of course. So when selecting your language over here, sorry. Oh, wait, sorry, my bad. It's here. So if I go languages, I can switch this on. And then it's to add your own translations. So this will be, if your ad is shown in English, so my ad is in English, and then the added language could be, let's just say German, for example. I can then use the automatic translation, or I can even add my own translations to it. And what this will do is anyone who is using Facebook in German will then see the ad. So I know that the translations don't always match up. So you do have the option to is to put it in here so that you can add your own text. You can add your own headlines for those different locations, languages, but yeah, and then you can add as many as you want as well. So it's what this is basically doing is just translating it for the user on that side.
Gotcha. Thank you so much.
Okay. Cool.
Any other questions? If not, I'll hand back to our team.
Benim bir sorum olacaktı aslında. Facebook'ta, özellikle Facebook'ta reklam verirken aynı anda birden farklı target grup, hedef grubunu seçebiliyor muyuz? Bazen Facebook bize reklam verirken bunu yapmamıza izin vermiyor. Bunu yapabileceğimiz bir yer var mı acaba? Teşekkür ederim.
Yes, so you can, if you have your audiences created already, so for example, I've got these ones here, you can select multiple audiences if you've created them already. But with the prospecting audience, you will have to create a separate ad set to have that. So this one is here, just this random one. I would need to go here and I can duplicate it, or I can quickly duplicate it as well. And then in this one, I would then select a different audience for this one. So this would maybe just be these people. I don't know. But yeah, you get the idea. There we go. Okay, so this is a different audience to the one above here. So that is one way to do it. What in some cases you're not able to select audiences, and what that is referring to is if, for example, I chose employment, okay, then I go here to my ad sets, I will not be able to select an audience from employment. That is because they do not want discrimination against people for employment. So there are certain special ad categories which actually don't allow you to select a specific audience. So I hope that answers both of your questions. Cool. Anyone else?
Okay, I think that's great. Excellent. The recording will be available and I can hand back to the local team. Thank you, Terence.
Cool.
Elbette. Biz de çok teşekkür ederiz Terence. Çok sağ ol. Yine harika bir workshop yaptın bizler için. Biz çok keyif aldık. Çok teşekkür ederiz. Kapatmadan önce veda etmeden öncesinde yine küçük hatırlatmalarımızı da yapmak isteriz. Öncelikli olarak biz bu 12 Ocak tarihinde 𝗚𝗓𝘅'da partnerimiz 𝗀𝐭𝐼𝐴𝐻'la birlikte bir networking event düzenliyoruz. Ben şimdi size onunla ilgili katılım için davet linkini chatten şu an size attım. Katılmak isteyenler, kendi işini kurmak isteyenler veyahut bir işletmeye sahip olan herkesi hem tanışmak için bekleriz hem de neler yapabiliriz sizin kurumunuzu, kapasitenizi arttırmak için onları konuşuruz. Bir diğer yaklaşan eventimiz de bu arada 16 Ocak tarihinde olacak. 16 Ocak'ta da Kiran bizimle birlikte olacak ve bu sefer de 12 aylık dijital pazarlama stratejisi workshopumuzu yüz yüze gerçekleştireceğiz. Bununla ilgili de bir kayıt formumuz var. Sizleri de yine aramızda görmek isteriz. Ben bununla ilgili kayıt formunu da şu an yine chatten sizlerle paylaşıyorum. Ve herkese bütün bu değerli vakti ve katılımı için de çok teşekkür ediyorum. Benim söyleyeceklerim bu kadar. Eğer Terence'ın ve Kiran'ın da ekleyecekleri yoksa belki de yavaş yavaş sonlandırabiliriz.
No, thank you so much everyone for joining.
Bye everyone. Talk soon. Thank you.